I have lots of the same concerns that other people have expressed about expanding this facility and the process in order to do that Karen had brought up is also a great concern to me. There's no reason to be rushing into this. There are way too many unanswered questions, and those need to be answered adequately to know whether or not this is going to be safe and what the potential harms could be to the environment and to water supply and so forth. One of my biggest concerns is the risk from the radiation and the fact that the more radiation that there is, the greater risk will be to the community. And the environmental impact statement should thoroughly examine all of the radiation health risks. And no national standard has been set for the radionuclide emissions, despite the fact that nuclear reactors routinely emit cancer-causing radioactivity. And really no new reactor should be licensed until this standard has been set. Research has shown an increase in cancer rates around nuclear plants, and Dr. Joseph Mangiano of the Radiation and Public Health Project studied the cancer death rate in the 3 counties closest to the South Texas nuclear project, an area that originally had a cancer rate below the statewide rate. And 16 years after the reactors began running, the cancer death rate in the area had risen over 16%. And this is of even more concern to me personally, because my family lives in the area down there, and I think seeing those figures should be of concern to people around here, especially when expanding the facility is being considered. And the National Academy of Sciences has concluded that radiation is dangerous even at low levels. And while it's not as damaging to have low-level radiation exposure as high-level radiation, on a short-term basis, prolonged exposure to low-level radioactivity can be just as damaging to humans. So the EIS should research the extent to which new reactors would add to cancer risks. And 4 reactors at one site would produce significantly more radioactive risk than the 2 existing reactors. And what would be the total amount of low-level radiation emitted, and how much would surrounding populations be exposed to this, and how much radioactivity would be emitted just in the routine operations. And so the EIS should use background radiation levels in their studies and to compare them to construction of the 2 existing nuclear reactors. And I'm concerned about what would happen with the radioactive gases that would be vented, and not just during the normal operations, but during the purges. And I'm also concerned about what tritium would be released into the water at the new proposed plant. Water is another big concern of mine, both in the amounts of water that would be used and what impacts would be on the water, both surface water and groundwater. And I know that Luminant has been working with the regional water planning process to earmark additional water rights for its plant expansion, which now appears that it will involve some 104,000 acre-feet of water from Lake Granbury to meet the new needs. And will it need any groundwater for makeup water? And how will the use of the water affect the run of the river water needed for environmental flows? And if global warming, climate change is occurring as severe as we anticipate, will there be enough water for cooling decline with a 35% decrease when it occurs in river flows? And so then will the groundwater decline? And another big concern is will the Ambient temperature, do you know what would happen when the ambient temperature becomes too high and the water temperature becomes too high for the plant to operate safely? And when that happens, do you have plans in place? Do you know what would happen at that point? One other concern I will just touch on is that the contamination from the uranium. What would happen in building more nuclear reactors is there would have to be more uranium brought in, of course, and it might be something that the local community isn't thinking as much about. But there are other local communities, even in Texas, that are very concerned about that. Again, back in South Texas, there are already problems with contamination from the uranium mining, and so there are many people down there who are opposed to more nuclear reactors because of the uranium mining, including my own family, again, concerned because of groundwater contamination. So I could go on and on about all of my concerns, but I'll leave some more people time to make their comments as well. And I will submit more comments in writing. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to come down.